She posted the video with the caption, "When you say yes just to record his dumb face." It got 3.2 million views by morning. I was on one knee for 13 seconds. I timed it. Anna smiled as I opened the ring box. The crowd clapped. Her eyes glistened, not with tears, but with performance. I thought she was just nervous, but when she reached for her phone instead of my hand, something inside me paused. She told me to hold still, laughed, and hit record. That night, my proposal became content. I didn't check the video at first. It was Daniel who sent me the link. Melissa had seen it too, but didn't say a word. Anna had turned my love into a punchline. No filter, no warning. She added slow-mo to my smile and a fake text overlay, "When he thinks he's the one." The comments were brutal. I recognized none of the usernames, but every word dug into my ribs. She didn't even look surprised. This was staged. Imagine falling for someone this boring. He probably practices speeches in the mirror. They were right. I did. The ring wasn't random. The moment wasn't impulsive. I had spent 4 months choosing the day, the location, the words. I knew Anna liked grand gestures. I just never expected to become one. I didn't tell anyone I had seen the video. I didn't confront her either. Instead, I just watched. Quietly, like someone monitoring a storm from behind glass. She never apologized. She never took it down. She just smiled across the dinner table the next night and said, "You went viral." I nodded. She went back to her wine. I opened a separate tab and started looking at apartments. The last thing I packed before I left was the ring box. I didn't take it because I still wanted her to say yes. I took it because next time, I wasn't going to propose to Anna. Daniel was waiting for me outside her building. He didn't ask questions, just leaned against the passenger door and say, "You done?" I nodded. Completely. He tossed my duffel bag in the back seat. "Where to?" "Anywhere without Wi-Fi." We drove in silence for nearly 40 minutes before he spoke again. "You sure she's not going to post another one?" I laughed under my breath. "Let her. This time I won't be in it." I stayed in Daniel's spare room for a week, didn't go online, didn't respond to texts. Melissa messaged once, "Are you okay?" I typed and deleted a dozen replies before sending just one word. "Fine." On the 8th day, she knocked on Daniel's door. I opened it and found her standing in a burgundy coat, holding coffee and something wrapped in tissue paper. "Before you ask," she said, "no, I'm not here for Anna." She handed me the coffee. "I figured you'd forgotten what decent human interaction looked like." I stared at the paper bundle. "What's that?" "A ring box," she said casually. "Don't worry, it's empty." I laughed for the first time in days. Melissa leaned against the wall. "She doesn't even realize what she lost, does she?" "No," I said, gripping the cup, "but she will." She nodded slowly. "Good." A pause. Then, "Robert, when you're ready to stop letting her write the story, maybe write your own." And just like that, something cracked open. I wasn't angry anymore, not really. I was awake. Anna had gotten her millions of views. She could have them. I was going to build something else. And next time I got down on one knee, it would be in front of someone who saw me, not someone filming me. Robert was the kind of man who believed in quiet loyalty. He wasn't the loudest in the room, but he was the one people turned to when everything went wrong. For years, he built his life on stability, financial, emotional, and moral. That's what made Anna notice him in the first place. Not the flash, but the foundation. They met at a fundraiser for a local museum. Robert was there representing the tech firm he helped build from scratch, while Anna arrived in a red satin dress that turned heads the moment she walked in. She was elegant, sculpted into motion, champagne flute in hand, laughter on her lips. And yet, amid the noise and flashing lights, she walked past every polished executive and stopped in front of Robert, who was too busy reading the exhibit plaques to notice her arrival. "You're either incredibly focused," she said, "or incredibly bored." He looked up, offering her the same calm smile he gave his investors. "Can't it be both?" Anna laughed. It wasn't fake, it wasn't polite, it was genuine, surprising even. That was the beginning. Their first date wasn't planned. After the fundraiser, they shared a late-night coffee in a closed bookstore's parking lot. Robert didn't try to impress her. He listened, asked real questions, and didn't flinch when she talked about things that had scared away other men: her family's legacy, the pressure of being the perfect twin, the burden of constant comparison. She confessed that her sister, Melissa, was the humiliate achiever, the one their parents actually trusted. "She's the fallback," Anna had said with a soft edge of envy. "I'm the front cover, she's the fine print." Robert didn't flinch, he just replied, "I read the fine print." It was that moment that did it. Anna leaned forward and kissed him first. From then on, their relationship unfolded publicly. Anna wasn't the type to keep things private. Every brunch, every bouquet, every gift Robert gave was filtered, captioned, and posted. At first, he didn't mind. He even smiled in a few pictures, answered polite questions on live chats, and stood quietly beside her during PR events she roped him into. But behind the polished selfies and social sparkle, Robert stayed consistent. He never raised his voice. He remembered her coffee order. He fixed the leaking faucet in her apartment before she even noticed it dripped. When Anna's car broke down on a freezing December evening, he didn't just show up. He came with her favorite soup, a portable heater, and his own coat, already unzipped. They weren't perfect, but Robert believed they were real. Still, there were cracks. Anna loved validation. She wasn't cruel about it, not intentionally, but she thrived on attention the way Robert thrived on peace. When followers gushed about her style, she leaned into it. When brands offered sponsorships for couple content, she accepted them without asking Robert first. Once, when he came home exhausted from a 16-hour business trip, she met him at the door, not with a hug, but with a camera. "Say hi to everyone," she beamed. He smiled, but something in him pulled back. The first real fight they had wasn't even about them, it was about Melissa. Robert had always gotten along with her twin. Melissa was a museum curator, quiet and observant. She didn't like crowds or cameras, she preferred paperbacks over parties and never interrupted people. Whenever Anna hosted family dinners, Melissa stayed just long enough to be polite before slipping out quietly. But one night, after a particularly draining event, Anna accused Robert of liking her sister more. "You look at her like she's some mystery," she said, wine glass in hand, "like she's the real treasure." Robert blinked. "Anna, she barely speaks." "Exactly," she snapped, "she doesn't need to." He didn't argue. He just stood there, trying to find the version of Anna he had met in that museum years ago. But she was already scrolling through her phone, hearing comments from strangers who told her she deserved better. Melissa, meanwhile, never said much about the relationship. But she noticed. She noticed the dark circles under Robert's eyes, the way he stood a little too still during Anna's live videos, the slight tension in his jaw whenever someone asked about their future wedding. It wasn't until Robert invited Melissa to a soft launch dinner for a non-profit project that she finally spoke. "I know what she did," she said as she helped arrange the seating charts. "The video, the caption." Robert didn't answer. Melissa glanced up. "She humiliated you, Robert. And she didn't even ask why you proposed that night." He looked away. "Did she ever ask?" she repeated. "No." Melissa didn't say anything for a long moment, then, "Why did you choose that night?" Robert folded the placement cards in his hands. "Because it was the anniversary of the day we met." A pause. "She forgot, didn't she?" He nodded once. Melissa inhaled, lips pressing into a thin line. "She doesn't deserve what you gave her." He looked at her then, really looked at her. At that moment, Melissa wasn't Anna's twin, she was just herself, quiet, steady, present. Anna once said Melissa was fine print, but to Robert, she looked like clarity. They didn't speak again that night, but the next morning, Robert's mind wasn't on Anna anymore, it was on Melissa's hands, the way she had smoothed the tablecloth with quiet care, the way she hadn't touched her phone even once. A week after that, Anna posted the video. And Robert broke. He didn't yell, didn't beg, didn't even send a message. He just vanished. It took her 2 days to realize he was gone. When she did, she called Daniel. Daniel told her the truth. "He's done." "Done?" she echoed. "Yeah, you posted his heart for likes." Anna showed up at Daniel's apartment, demanding to see Robert. He didn't let her in. "Where is he?" she hissed. Daniel shrugged. "Not here." You're covering for him. No, I'm protecting him. Anna's face twisted in disbelief. So what now? He just ghosts me? You made him invisible first. Anna's mouth opened, then closed. She turned and left without another word. Meanwhile, Melissa found Robert sitting on a bench outside the museum where they'd all met. She didn't ask questions, she just sat down beside him and passed him a thermos. He took it. Chamomile, she said. He sipped. It was warm. You okay? She asked. I will be. Melissa nodded. I know, she said. That night, for the first time in months, Robert slept peacefully. No cameras, no spotlight, no captions. Just silence, and her. The message came at 2:43 a.m. Robert was awake. He often was these days, but this time, it wasn't insomnia that stirred him. It was a buzz on the nightstand and Anna's name flashing across the screen. After everything, she had the nerve to text him again. Anna. You owe me a response. Anna. I made you famous. Be grateful. He stared at the words for a full minute before turning the screen over. It lit up again 5 seconds later. Anna. Are you seriously going to hide with my sister? That was the first time she had ever said it out loud. Melissa had offered him her guest room when Daniel left for a business trip. The quiet of her place was different, not empty but intentional. No LED ring lights, no phone tripods, no live streams whispering in the background, just books, art, and the occasional classical playlist humming from her kitchen while she steeped tea. When Robert showed her Anna's texts the next morning, Melissa read them in silence. Then she handed the phone back. Are you going to reply? No. Good. But it didn't end. Anna posted again. This time it wasn't a joke, it was a story. A long, rambling caption under a photo of the engagement ring sitting in the palm of her hand. The one she never wore. He proposed without warning. It wasn't romantic, it was awkward. I panicked, I laughed. I didn't mean to hurt him, but I guess he took it the wrong way. Over 50,000 likes in 5 hours. I loved him. I didn't realize he was this sensitive. Robert didn't even flinch, but Daniel, who saw the post through a mutual connection, called immediately. She's flipping the narrative, he said, and people are buying it. Let her. Is Melissa okay with this? Robert looked out the window. Melissa was pruning her tiny potted basil plant with surgical precision. She hasn't said anything. She didn't need to. The damage escalated when a local tabloid picked up the story. He walked out after she said no. Now she's the villain? They painted Anna as misunderstood, passionate, victimized. Melissa skimmed the article and set the phone down. You need to say something. No one listens when I speak. They will if you speak through action. Robert didn't ask what she meant, he already knew. The next evening, he called Daniel. Find me a PR firm, I'm going to set the record straight. You sure? Daniel asked. Positive. Melissa didn't blink when Robert told her the plan. She just nodded once and said, if you're going to burn the lie, do it clean. Robert's statement went live 2 days later. A single post, black background, white text. There was no surprise proposal. It was planned, approved, discussed. The ring was chosen together, the location was scouted. She asked me to record it, for content. What she didn't ask for was permission to post my face with a clown emoji and laugh tracks. I was not sensitive, I was betrayed. You don't humiliate someone you love. It was clinical, measured, devastating. The comments turned fast. Anna lost followers, brand deals quietly faded, influencer friends unfollowed her without a word. She posted a tearful apology video in soft makeup and white lighting, but this time, no one believed her. The apology trended for less than 24 hours before a new headline dropped. Robert seen on the arm of Anna's twin, Melissa. The photo wasn't staged, they had just exited a bakery. Melissa was laughing, head tilted slightly toward Robert, who was carrying 2 coffee cups. There was nothing romantic in the picture, but the caption did all the damage. He didn't just walk away, he walked to her sister. Robert hadn't expected it to hurt, but Melissa's silence that evening told him it had. I didn't plan that, he said, gently setting down the coffee. I didn't even know there was a photographer. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not angry at you, Melissa said. I'm angry that people think I'd do this to her, that I'd steal you. You didn't steal anything, I left. Melissa looked at him for a long moment. Are you sure you're not with me out of spite? No. Because if you are, I'm not. Her eyes softened, but her shoulders stayed tense. Then be honest, Robert. Do you want me, or do you just want someone who's not Anna? He stepped closer. I want someone who listens, who notices, who doesn't use my pain for content. I want you, Melissa, not because of who you're not, but because of who you are. She said nothing, but she didn't walk away either. The next week, Anna showed up at Robert's apartment. Not the old one, the new condo near the harbor. Melissa opened the door. Anna froze. You, she said, eyes scanning Melissa's bare face, her oversized cardigan, her unbrushed hair. Of course it's you. Melissa didn't flinch. You should go. I'm here for Robert. No, Anna, you're here for damage control. He owes me 5 minutes. No, Robert said, stepping behind Melissa. I don't. Anna blinked. You're serious, she whispered. You really left me, for her. No, I left you for myself. She just happened to be standing next to me when I did. Anna's eyes welled. I made a mistake. You made a choice. I didn't mean to humiliate you. But you did. Don't you miss me? Robert looked at her, really looked at her. Then he said, no. She laughed once, then again, louder. So this is it? You propose to me, I make one bad joke, and you end up dating my twin? Melissa's jaw tightened. Robert stepped in calmly. You posted the proposal, Anna. You posted my face, my pain, my trust. It was a joke. No, it was a reveal. And it showed me who you really are. Anna's voice cracked. I loved you. You loved attention, he replied. You just used my face to get it. She backed away slowly. Melissa didn't move. When Anna finally left, she didn't slam the door. She just stood in the hallway for a few seconds longer than she should have. Then she vanished. Robert let out a long breath. Melissa looked at him. He met her eyes. I meant it, he said. I know. But the fallout wasn't over. That night, Anna went live. I've lost everything, she whispered into the camera. My relationship, my sister, my future. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I didn't know I was breaking him. I didn't know I was losing her. The views were low, the chat was mostly silent. Robert didn't watch it. Melissa did. She turned off the screen halfway through, then she turned to Robert. We need to stop being their story. I agree. You want to write ours? He smiled. Already drafting it. The silence after Anna left wasn't peaceful, it was tight, humming, uneasy. Robert sat on the edge of Melissa's couch, hands clasped, fingers interlaced until the knuckles paled. The windows were closed, the curtains drawn, yet he felt exposed, like every part of him had been peeled back in public. Melissa made tea, not because it fixed anything, but because it gave her hands something to do. You're quiet, she said gently. I don't know how to talk about it anymore. She didn't press, just handed him the cup and sat beside him. Do you regret it? She asked. He knew what she meant, the proposal, the years, the walking away, the falling for someone new, someone close. Robert stared into the steam rising from the mug. Sometimes I regret that I stayed as long as I did, but I don't regret how I loved her. That part was real, for me. Melissa nodded. And now? He exhaled slowly. Now I'm scared I don't know what real looks like anymore. For days, that feeling followed him. Even in Melissa's presence, safe, steady, undemanding, his nerves braced for impact, as if any second she might turn, pull out her phone, twist his heart into another caption. But Melissa never asked for attention, she never took photos without permission. She never commented on trending hashtags or retweeted jokes at Anna's expense. She just existed beside him, soft, solid, real. Still, Robert couldn't shake the doubt. Every time his phone buzzed, his stomach dropped. He flinched when someone mentioned Anna's name. He scrolled comments under his post, even though he promised himself not to. Some were supportive, some were venomous. One read, "Pooh. A guy doesn't even realize the sister's probably worse." It stuck. Not because he believed it, but because a part of him couldn't tell if he'd know the difference. One afternoon, Daniel called out of nowhere. "You need to get out of your head," he said. "Come to the lake house this weekend, I'll drive." Robert hesitated. Melissa looked up from her book and said, "Go." So he went. The lake house was quiet. Too quiet, no city noise, just the creaking of old wood and the sigh of wind through trees. Robert tried to relax, really tried, but it wasn't working. "You've got trauma, man," Daniel said over beers. "You just came out of a hurricane and walked into a meadow. Of course the wind still makes you flinch." "I don't want to drag it into something good," Robert replied. "I don't want to bring it into Melissa." "Then talk to her," Daniel said. "Or better yet, talk to yourself. Figure out what you're afraid of." That night, Robert sat by the water, staring at the dark ripple of the lake. The stars above were bright, too bright. They reminded him of flashbulbs. He closed his eyes and let the questions come. What if Melissa left too? What if this wasn't different? What if he was broken? What if he didn't know how to trust anymore, not because of others, but because of himself? He didn't find the answers at the lake, but he found something else. Resolve. When he returned, Melissa was waiting by the door. She didn't ask how the trip went. She didn't need to. He reached for her hand. She let him. "I'm scared," he admitted. Melissa didn't blink. "So am I." "I don't want to treat you like a maybe." "Then don't." "I don't want to hold back." "Then give more." "I don't want to compare you." "I'm not asking you to." Robert swallowed. "And what if I fail again?" Melissa's voice was quiet. "Then we'll decide what to do about it when it happens." The next day, he told her everything. About anxiety, the late-night spirals, the comments, the anger that burned without flame, the way every compliment now felt like it came with strings. Melissa listened, every word. Then she did what Anna never had. She said, "Thank you for trusting me." And that sentence did more to settle him than all the noise that had come before. Still, the past clawed back. One evening, Robert received an email from an unknown sender. No subject, no body, just a video attachment. He clicked it. It was raw footage, the original proposal video. Unedited, no captions, no clown emojis, just Robert kneeling, Anna gasping, laughing nervously, whispering something off camera before pulling out her phone. He watched himself blink, confused, saw his shoulders stiffen, watched his own face fall in real time. Melissa found him still staring at the screen. "Is that?" He nodded. "Who sent it?" "No idea." She sat beside him and took the mouse. "Delete it," she said. He hesitated. "But, it's not proof, it's a wound, you don't need to keep bleeding." He hovered over the trash icon. Clicked, it felt like breathing again. Later that night, he asked, "Why do you stay?" Melissa rolled over on the couch, looking up at him. "Because you're trying, because you tell the truth, even when it's ugly, because I see the way you protect peace, not pride." Robert blinked. "I don't deserve that kind of grace." She smiled faintly. "No one deserves love. They just get lucky when someone offers it freely." And he realized then, that's what scared him most. Not losing it, but finally believing he had it. The email was unexpected. This time, it wasn't anonymous, it was from Anna's legal team, a formal notice, signed and dated. She was suing Robert for defamation. Melissa found him staring at the screen, unmoving. "What is it?" He tilted the laptop toward her. She scanned the content in seconds. "She's not serious," she said, but even as she said it, her lips pressed into a tight line. Robert didn't speak, he simply leaned back, eyes on the ceiling. "She's framing it like your post damaged her brand," Melissa continued. "She's saying the backlash cost her over 100,000 in sponsorships." He finally spoke. "She's trying to bankrupt me for leaving her." "No," Melissa replied. "She's trying to punish you for not crawling back." Daniel drove over within the hour, pacing the living room with the letter in hand. "Defamation?" he scoffed. "She posted the video, you responded with facts." "Technically, the law won't care about emotions," Robert said quietly. "If she frames it as reputational loss and claims I exaggerated, she might have a case." Melissa crossed her arms. "Then fight it, don't cave." But Robert was quiet for a long time. Daniel finally asked, "What's holding you back?" He exhaled. I'm just tired. The next few days blurred into meetings with lawyers, scanned documents, and endless timelines of events. Robert's team was sharp, but Anna's was aggressive. They pushed narratives, they demanded takedowns. They called Melissa a conflict of interest. She's your ex's sister, the opposing counsel stated coldly. You're living with her now, that fact alone taints your objectivity. Robert sat through it all without flinching. Until they sent a second message, one not for court, but for leverage. Anna wanted a private meeting, no cameras, no recordings, just her and Robert. Absolutely not, Melissa said instantly. This is manipulation. She'll ambush you, Daniel warned, or worse, record you again. But Robert surprised them both. I'll go. He met Anna at a neutral cafe downtown. She was already seated, dressed in all white, sunglasses perched on her head like a halo. She didn't look up as he approached. When he sat down, she finally spoke. You look tired. Robert ignored the small talk. Why the lawsuit? She took off her glasses. Because you embarrassed me. I told the truth. You made me look like a monster. You hit a record. Her jaw clenched. I didn't expect you to disappear. I didn't expect you to humiliate me back. Robert paused. You didn't expect me to fight back at all. Anna leaned forward, her tone low. You were supposed to forgive me. That's what you do, Robert. You endure, you fix. He didn't blink. Not anymore. She sat back, laughing bitterly. So you replace me with Melissa? She didn't replace you. She's nothing like you. That, more than anything, seemed to sting. Anna's expression changed. Then here's what I want. She slid a manila envelope across the table. In this agreement, she continued, you'll issue a follow-up post. Say that your first one was emotional. Say it was taken out of context. Say you regret escalating it publicly. I'll drop the suit. Robert didn't open the envelope. And if I don't? Anna's eyes flashed. I'll drag Melissa into it, publicly. I'll say she was always involved, that you were cheating emotionally, maybe even physically. You think people won't believe me? They loved me once. They will again. Robert stood. This is extortion. It's strategy, she corrected. He left the envelope, untouched. Back home, Melissa was waiting. He told her everything. She didn't speak for a full minute, then, do you want to take the deal? No. Even if it protects me? He looked her in the eyes. Especially because it doesn't. But she saw the hesitation. She saw the storm returning to his eyes. That night, while Robert paced the apartment, Melissa opened her laptop. She drafted a post of her own. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional. It was a timeline. She laid out dates, screenshots, witness accounts, a full record of what happened, when it happened, and how Robert had removed himself from the relationship before any involvement with her had begun. She posted it with a simple caption. For the record, this is the truth. I don't need to be defended, but I will not be defamed. The reaction was instant. People who had doubted her, people who had called her a homewrecker, began to delete comments. Quiet apologies flooded her inbox. Supporters shared her post. Even a few minor journalists picked it up, calling it a masterclass in clean reputation management. But the most important message came from Anna herself. She sent a single text to Robert. Anna. Tell her she wins, the lawsuit's dead. Robert showed Melissa the message. She read it, closed her phone, and went back to reading. Nothing more was said. But later that night, Robert kissed her forehead and whispered, "Thank you." She smiled. "Next time, you fight." "I will." And he meant it. The gala was never meant to be a battlefield. Yet as Robert stepped onto the marble floor beneath the chandeliers, he felt the air crackle. Anna was across the room in silver heels and a calculated smile. This wasn't just an event, it was a stage. Melissa walked beside him, calm in a dark green dress that barely made a sound when it moved. Her presence was quiet power. She didn't wear attention the way Anna did, but tonight, she didn't need to. The moment they were announced at the entrance, cameras shifted, flashes sparked, whispers caught fire across the room. This was the first public event where all three of them would be under one roof. Daniel had warned him. If you walk in with her, Anna will strike. Just be ready. Robert had smiled without humor. I'm not flinching anymore. Across the ballroom, Anna locked eyes with them. The moment lasted too long. She smiled, waved slightly, then disappeared into the crowd. Melissa didn't react. She's planning something. I know. They hadn't planned to attend originally, but the foundation Robert had once supported invited him personally, asking him to say a few words about integrity in business leadership. It was ironic and impossible to refuse. During cocktails, they kept mostly to themselves, but it didn't last. An older investor walked up with a wide grin and said, "So this is the famous couple." Robert raised an eyebrow. Famous? Oh, come on, the man chuckled. You've been trending on and off for months, the whole proposal scandal, the sister switch, it's like a digital soap opera. Melissa's hand tightened around her champagne flute. Robert's voice remained even. We're just people. The investor laughed. Well, I hope tonight ends without another plot twist. As he walked away, Melissa turned to Robert. Let's make sure it does. But fate had other plans. The gala reached its peak around 9:00 p.m. The music softened, the room darkened slightly. Robert was called to the podium. He walked up calmly, buttoning his jacket mid-step. The spotlight followed him, slicing the space between him and the crowd like a wire. Thank you, he began, eyes scanning the audience. I was asked to speak about integrity. I thought about declining. A polite laugh rippled through the guests. But then I remembered something important. Integrity isn't about having a clean history. It's about how you react when someone tries to dirty it. Several heads turned, he continued. I've made mistakes. I trusted too long. I stayed silent too often. But I've also learned what it means to rebuild trust, starting with myself. In the back of the room, Anna leaned against a column. Her smile was frozen in place. People glanced at her, some discreetly, some not. Robert didn't look at her. I won't pretend the past few months haven't been difficult. They've tested my boundaries, my patience and my silence, but they've also taught me what love looks like when it's not filtered. Now he turned, just slightly, toward Melissa. It looks like consistency, like accountability, like presence without performance. The applause began, a soft wave at first, then it grew. Robert stepped down. Melissa met him with a look that didn't need words, but then a voice rang out. Excuse me, may I say something? Anna. She was already at the second microphone, heels clicking like gunshots across the floor. The organizers hesitated. Someone stepped forward to intervene, but Anna raised a hand. I'll only take a minute. The room hushed. She smiled sweetly. I just wanted to say, it's wonderful seeing Robert happy, and Melissa, you wear guilt well. Gasps. Robert stepped forward immediately, but Melissa caught his arm. Anna continued. You see, it's easy to talk about integrity when the cameras are on. But no one's talking about how quickly people move on, how sisters become replacements, how some people pretend to be better while doing worse. Melissa walked to the stage, not rushed, not loud. She stood beside Anna and took the mic. I wasn't going to respond, she said, voice low and steady, but you've dragged me onto this stage enough times, first behind your back, now face to face. Anna raised her brows. Feeling bold tonight, aren't we? Melissa didn't blink. No, just finished being quiet. She turned to the crowd. I never stole anyone, I didn't need to. Robert left you, not for me, but for himself. He healed beside me, not because of me, and I didn't plan that, I didn't even expect it. She paused. I've spent most of my life being your shadow, Anna, but tonight, I'll be my own voice. Then she looked directly at her sister. You hurt him, you mocked love, and when you lost the reaction you wanted, you tried to destroy what he rebuilt, not for closure, but for control. Anna's face cracked just slightly. You don't know what it was like, watching you take everything that was mine. Melissa exhaled. It was never yours, you just assumed no one else could be chosen. The room was frozen. Melissa set the mic down and walked away. Anna stood still, jaw tight, then, without another word, she exited the ballroom. No one followed. Back at their table, Robert took Melissa's hand. That was long overdue, she finished. Outside, the night air was crisp. They didn't speak. On the ride home, they didn't need to. When they stepped inside, Melissa sat on the couch without her usual grace. The weight of the moment had finally reached her. Robert joined her. I'm proud of you, he said. She looked at him. I didn't say it for you. I know. I said it for me. I know that too. He reached for her hand again. She let him. Then, softly. I think I'm ready now. For what? He asked. To stop wondering if this is temporary. Robert smiled. Good, he said. Because I've been carrying something around. He got up, walked to the bedroom, returned with a small velvet box. Melissa stared at it. You're joking. He opened it. A new ring, simple, elegant, designed with her in mind. I proposed to someone who turned it into content, Robert said quietly. Now I'm proposing to someone who turned it into a character. Melissa's eyes burned. You're really doing this here, after all that? Yes, he said. Because love doesn't need a spotlight. She took the box, took the ring, and said nothing, but her smile answered everything. The wedding wasn't grand, it wasn't meant to be, just 30 guests in a garden overlooking the lake, a violinist in the background, and Melissa walking barefoot down a stone path toward Robert. Peace was louder than applause. Daniel stood behind Robert as best man, smirking the whole time. You know, he whispered, if someone live streams this, it'll break the internet. Robert chuckled. Let them. This time, they'll watch something real. Melissa's vows weren't long. She didn't promise fireworks, she promised shelter, presence, eyes that never looked away. And Robert's voice, when he spoke his part, cracked just once, when he said, You reminded me who I was before I let the world humiliate me. The guests cheered, but Melissa only smiled as if they were the only two people breathing. By sunset, the ceremony was over. But something else was just beginning. 3 days later, a video went viral. Not posted by Robert, not Melissa. Daniel. He uploaded a 20-minute exposé titled, The Truth Behind the Viral Proposal, What Really Happened to Robert. The video included footage that had never been seen, private texts, screen recordings, legal documentation, and raw audio from Anna's confrontation at the gala. It laid out the timeline with surgical precision, how Anna had orchestrated the original joke, threatened lawsuits, tried to weaponize her sister's reputation, and failed. There were no insults, no dramatics, just receipts. Within hours, the internet flipped. Comments flooded in. She deserved every ounce of this. Melissa is everything Anna pretended to be. Robert got the last word without even speaking. Anna, for the first time, went quiet. No apology, no response. But silence, now, was an admission. She wasn't invited to the wedding, she wasn't mentioned in any toast, but she watched, of course she did. A day later, Robert received a final message. Anna, you win. Happy? He didn't reply. Instead, he sent a donation in her name to a domestic dignity non-profit, the same one she once mocked during an influencer campaign for being too serious. The receipt went directly to her inbox. Melissa knew. She saw the email, she said nothing, but when she kissed Robert that night, it lasted a little longer than usual. 2 months into married life, Robert took Melissa to a quiet cafe, the same one he had once. He proposed at, long before it all fell apart. I want to start something new, he told her, a foundation, to help people like me, the ones who gave too much to the wrong person and got mocked for it. Melissa nodded. What will you call it? He thought for a second, then smiled. Closure. That week, the Closure initiative launched online. It wasn't flashy. No PR stunts. Just a place where people could anonymously share their stories, betrayals, humiliations, failed dreams, and receive empathy, legal support, emotional coaching. Within 3 weeks, it had over 20,000 submissions. Anna's name showed up in 3. Anonymous posts, stories about her temper, her tactics, her need for control. Robert read them all. He didn't judge, he didn't gloat. He archived them. Some wounds don't need salt, they need space to scar. Meanwhile, Melissa designed the logo. Daniel handled outreach, and Robert funded everything, using the money Anna once tried to sue out of him. Ultimate revenge wasn't a headline, it was living without needing one. 6 months later, Melissa surprised him. They stood on the same museum steps where Anna had once kissed him for the cameras. Melissa placed his old ring box in his hand. Thought you might want to bury it. He opened it, the original ring, untouched. Robert smiled. You kept it? She shrugged. Not everything from the past has to be destroyed. Some things just need closure. So together, they walked to the lake behind the museum and dropped it into the water. No ceremony, no audience, just ripples. The next morning, Melissa found a new post on the Closure Initiative website. Anonymous, he loved me through my worst, and I turned him into a joke. I thought power was above him, but now I see power staying beside him. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I hope you're happy. You deserve to be. Robert read it too. He didn't reply. He just marked it with a small note. Status, closed.